yeah, today we got Jack Reeder, somebody that I also met through Sam Class, which is the last guy I interviewed was Ken Foreman. He's awesome. Um, you can attest to that, right, Jack?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I talked to Ken a lot, like outside of class. I love Ken.
Yeah, he's awesome, and it was a great interview with him too. I took a lot out of it, like personally. But yeah, Jack just seemed like a really cool dude. I wanted to get him on the show. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. I'm
Sweet.
trying to figure out not what I'm doing on this podcast, just what I'm doing in my own life.
Oh, really? What does that entail?
um, it entails making money. Just so I'm not man. I've just been broke lately, and it's like I'm just tired of it. Trying to
So
move on up.
you live out in Texas, right?
Yes, sir.
What whereabouts?
Uh, so I live in Arlington, which is part of the Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex, and I just say Dallas because I just lived in Dallas before this, and it's like 10 minutes away. So
You like
um,
it out there?
I do, I don't like the heat, and I grew up around here until I was like 11, and my life's a weird long story of moving around, but I grew up here. I've never liked the heat, but there's tons of opportunities here. There's like video game companies here. Dallas is like a huge nerd hub because we do the anime dubbing here. We got these video game companies and stuff.
Oh,
Um,
I didn't know that.
yeah, it's weird. But it's cool.
What about like cost of living? Like, were you able to find an affordable place out there?
I have one of the best deals on rent that I know of. Um,
Nice.
and I live in a nice little like tucked away neighborhood. I lucked out on this spot. But other like outside of this, rent is rough for sure. And it's not just the rent. It's like if you're trying to find a place, you know the standard. Oh, you got to make three times the rent, which nobody that I know does.
Right.
And you got to have like amazing credit and the works.
Yeah, I just moved recently, and what a motherfucker. I live in a town. I mean, it's hard everywhere, but the challenge is where I live. It's like a smaller town, and the first problem is it's a nice little town, so nothing is available at all. Like it's all taken. Like it's just a bunch of old people, and they're not going anywhere. They're not renting their shit out. It's just some of it's just sitting. It's really frustrating. You can walk around town and see like some really nice places that are just empty, and you're just like, motherfucker, sucks. So just finding a place is the first challenge, and then everything is just like expensive. I mean,
Yeah.
regular rent is like 1,200 for a small town. That's insane. Like,
Yeah. For a small town, absolutely.
yeah, it's nuts.
Where do you live again?
Abingdon, Virginia. So it's down in the Southwest Virginia. Next closest city is Bristol. We're near what's called the
Okay.
Tri-Cities. It's Bristol, Kingsport, and Johnson City are all like pretty close by.
Cool.
I love it.
Cool.
Yeah, it's great. And I did eventually luck out on a place. It ain't cheap, but it's nice, and I'm really happy to be here. And
Yeah, good for you.
yes,
I've heard it's very rough up there. I've got a buddy who lives right outside of DC. He lives, I think, in Fairfax, where I also used to live. Uh, and Virginia is, I mean, great state, super expensive. That's
oh yeah,
oof.
a commonwealth, whatever that means.
Yeah.
I think it's a commonwealth. Dude,
It's
the Virginia state flag, I'm not from here. I just moved here a couple years ago. It's fucking insane. It's like a dude with like a spear, and he's like over the dead body of another guy, and he's like got his foot up on this guy, and he's like holding this spear, and it basically says in Latin like "Death to kings, don't fuck with us." It's like the
That's
most
awesome.
metal shit ever, man. I was just driving down
Yeah.
the road one day and I see this flag like outside the courthouse. And I'm like, what the fuck? It's like that dude just murdered a guy. And that's the state flag. They're like, don't fuck with us. And I think it says
That's
something about kings, like death to kings.
that is metal. That's awesome.
And it's one of those things that because it's a state flag, no one sees it as weird or like out there. It's just like that's just a flag, you know, like
What are you talking about?
yeah. But I see it, and I'm like,
Flag.
what the fuck? And then in Tennessee, so I technically live in Virginia, but Southwest Virginia, I don't really see much of the rest of the state. I'm just like tucked away in a little corner there. And so it's like Tennessee, North Carolina, Virginia. It's like on the border there. And it's like a little Appalachia spot. So think like
Yeah.
like area. Um, oh fuck, I forgot where I was going with that. Nah. Oh well.
You ever visit spots in Tennessee or North Carolina?
Yes. Oh, I do remember where I was going with that. I lived in Nashville for 3 years, and
Nice.
Tennessee has a cool state flag. That's where I was going with that. They have the 3-star Dragon Ball.
I don't know any state flags.
I mean,
Texas.
it took me moving to
That's
these
cool.
places to find out.
True.
And it's not an orange Dragon Ball with the red stars. It's blue with white stars, but it's totally a fucking Dragon Ball. And if you drive through Tennessee, you see these fucking Dragon Balls everywhere. Like on the not just flags, but like on the side of like highway overpasses and bridges. You'll see this fucking Dragon Ball emblem like all over Tennessee. And my theory is that the 3-star Dragon Ball is in Tennessee. It's hidden in a cave.
It's gotta be.
Yes.
It's gotta be.
I mean, it's destiny. It's everywhere. It's all, the license plates all have it. And again, it's one of those things where I used to make that joke with people all the time when I lived in Nashville, and nobody like really cared or gave like they don't notice it as the 3-star Dragon Ball. They're just like, oh, that's just the Tennessee state flag. I'm like, no, bitches. Like, look, it's right in front of your eyes. Your eyes, man.
Let me look up a picture.
Yeah. And in fact, like on my driver's license,
That's a Dragon Ball. That's straight up a Dragon Ball.
there's on my driver's license there's a Dragon Ball on it because I still have my Tennessee license. And let's see if I can do this without like showing my whole thing. On the back of it, not only does it show the 3-star Dragon Ball, but there's a trail behind it as if it's moving. You see that?
I do. Motion lines.
Yeah, it's right there. So it's like the Dragon Ball, like flying. Isn't that fucking insane?
That's awesome.
Yeah, dude.
I had no idea about
Nobody
any of that.
knows. Nobody knows about this. It fucking drives me insane. It's nuts. Talk to anybody in Tennessee about it. They're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
That's crazy. They don't even know they live there.
That's what I'm saying.
I would have recognized that early on. Like,
Yeah, we would have been friends had we lived in Nashville together.
yeah. How was Nashville? I've never visited, but I've heard really good things.
You need to. It's nice. It's really nice. It's a great city to visit. I don't like living in big cities. I'm from the Atlanta area, and the traffic and just all the shit just is too much for me. But
Yeah.
Nashville is nice because it's got everything that like a big city has for the most part. I mean, shit, they got a fucking football stadium. But it's not like overwhelmingly large and crazy and clusterfuck and stuff. So living there was like a good balance, I think.
Yeah.
I loved it. It's beautiful during the summer. The women in Nashville are just gorgeous. Like that's one of the first things I noticed. Like I just moved there in like late spring, I think, and just walking around, just parks and markets, just beautiful women, just like everywhere. It's just I don't know what it's about. I guess the South.
That's a good perk.
Yes,
You know.
I think the South is pretty good with our ladies for the most part.
For the most part, yeah.
We do ladies pretty good. We grow them good down here.
Yes, sir. It's all that corn in the feed.
So I don't think we've actually mentioned on here that you are a professional voice actor.
Yes. It's true.
And I kind of looked up at your stuff. I didn't like go too deep on everything because I don't want to read a bunch of stuff and then just be wrong about everything. But it seems like
No, you're fine.
you've mostly done work for Funimation, and the other one I see is Crunchy Time.
Crunchyroll.
Crunchyroll.
Uh,
I've not heard of them before, but I'm also not like a huge anime guy. Are they like a pretty
yeah,
big player?
you're good. Crunchyroll has like basically, and I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this, a monopoly on anime, for the most part. And Funimation was like they did Dragon Ball Z and all that stuff. Crunchyroll emerged in Berkeley, if I'm not mistaken, California, like in the 2000s, and Sony bought Crunchyroll not too many, like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, something like that, maybe.
Oh, interesting.
And then they bought Funimation, and then like 2 3 years ago, they merged both into one brand under the Crunchyroll name.
Oh, so
So
Funimation isn't really a thing anymore.
yeah, unfortunately, it's the same
Whoa.
people,
Right.
but the brand
They got
is
bought out by
which is really
Sony.
sad. Yeah.
How interesting. I did not know any of that. I'm looking at their website now. It looks pretty cool. Crunchyroll. So when you work for Crunchyroll, I guess you're working for Sony in a way?
Yeah, I mean through the ladders. Yeah, absolutely.
So interesting. But anyways, yeah, it looks like you've done a bunch of shows. I saw this one page on here where it looked like you did some video game work. Have you done video game stuff?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
That's so cool. How'd you get into that?
The first game I ever did was Red Dead Redemption 2. And
What? Were you one of the
yeah.
cowboy? Well, I guess everyone's a cowboy in that, but I could see
Yeah.
because I saw one of your cowboy characters in one of your animes where you're just like, "Hey y'all!" Like,
Oh, you saw that? Yeah. The horse salesman guy or whatever.
yes. Was it anything like that? Were you the horse salesman guy in Red Dead 2?
The horse salesman guy was a lot goofier. Red Dead 2, they were looking for realistic Southern voices. So it was I say it was like a fluke that I got it. It was a right place, right time thing. I met this guy. I was living in Mississippi. I'll try to condense this because there's a lot of details.
Mississippi.
Yes, sir. So the southern tip, like on the coast, an hour east of New Orleans, and right next to Biloxi, if you know where that is.
I've driven through that. Dude, I love that Gulf Coast area.
Yeah,
Down there.
it's cozy. It really
Yeah.
is cozy.
Yeah.
I mentioned I lived in Dallas till I was 11. Then we moved to the coast of Mississippi, and we moved there just in time for Katrina, and then that had us scattered all over the country. And then we went to Fairfax, like I mentioned earlier.
Oh shit.
But anyway, we resettled to Mississippi in like 06, 07-ish, 07-ish, I think. And anyway, where was I going with this? What was the question?
You're talking about the Red Dead 2. How you got on?
Yeah,
Dead
thank
2.
you. So, me and my buddy, I met this guy at community college. He wanted to be a voice actor. I was like, I want to be a voice actor too. And we started going hard on, well, where do we go? What do we do? So we found this voice coach who taught classes, and it's like it was the only. I mean, talk about small towns. It was the only thing, even in like for New Orleans that we could see, which is a big city. Like voice acting's kind of niche. They don't have a whole lot of resources for it, I guess, over there. So we find this guy. We take his class. And I sign up for some like email newsletter-ish thing from him. And couple months after that, he gets he sends out this audition. Hey, got this audition for this thing, and nobody knew what it was. We didn't know any details about what it was, but it was like they're looking for authentic Southern voices. So I was like a brand new voice actor. I'd been practicing like most of my life, but brand new to actually trying to go for it. And I auditioned and I passed. And then I found out what it was for, and I lost my shit.
Yeah.
And so I was living by the point I passed the audition, I was living in Dallas. So I had to fly into New Orleans to record it. And it was really cool. They put a facial capture mask on you and stuff. And it was, I was just.
So like they animated the guy's face based on your facial movements?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Whoa. Have you seen this character? Have you played the game and like...
I have not found him. I'm in the credits, and usually, I mean, I could be wrong on this. When you're replaced for a role in any game or show, to my knowledge, they remove you from the credits. You still get paid. That's your compensation. Is, well, you got paid. And no hard feelings type of deal. But I'm in the credits, so Red Dead's just such a vast, huge game. I have not found my character. I'm just some NPC walking around.
Dude, I would be obsessed. If I were you, that would have been my... I've never played Red Dead 2 just because I know how big it is, and I've been addicted to MMOs before, and I just know that if I go into it, like, I'm going hard. I'd be like, Jack Black is like super into that game. Like, he has like a YouTube channel where he streams it, and I think Tenacious D just wrote a song about it.
I love that song.
But if I knew I was in there somewhere, that's all I would be doing, man. I'd be talking to I'd go to every town, every place. I hit every trail, be like, where is this motherfucker? And I'd be thinking about like what lines I read and being like, where could he be? Is he out in the cabin? Because he mentioned the cabin. I remember that line,
That's, my clue, I did have one clue. And that was that I read lines for like same character, but two versions of the lines for, I think, U.S. Army soldier and Texas Army soldier. And I don't think they call it Texas in the game, so I don't think they would have gone with that one.
I guess so, probably around like a barracks or like a camp, like a army.
There's forts in the game.
Yeah.
And I went to the forts and I was like, okay, maybe he's here, but couldn't find him. But I mean, I recorded. It was so much fun because like you had to get like, okay, for this scene, you just got tied up. He hog ties you and you're thrown on the back of the horse. So you got to like do every little possibility. And it was so much fun. That was Red Dead 2 was a blast. Like, for real. That was probably my crowning achievement. Really fun.
Like, how many hours would you say you put in on that project? Like recording wise? Like, was that like a full day, week?
It was only a couple of hours. I'm trying to remember like how many hours.
So you
not very long.
You just do it all in one go then. Like they give you just like sheets that they want you to read, and you just that's gotta be.
We covered a lot of lines. We went through it quick because there were a ton of lines to go through. I'm surprised at how much we squeezed. Like I was actually exhausted when it was over. Because it is a workout. You don't think about it, but it's such a weird, I guess, aerobic workout because you're having to expunge all this energy over and over and like breathe and this and that, and you will sweat and you will be like, oh shoot, I'm out of energy.
Well, I mean, especially since you have to really, project, so you're using a lot of air, I imagine. That's wild, man. One Piece. You did One Piece as well. Cider, is that the characters? I've not seen One Piece.
No, dude, don't. Do not apologize. I'm in One Piece, and I've voiced more than I've watched. Not that I have anything against the show. I think it's a great show, but there's just it's huge. It's ridiculously big.
Let me ask you this: is there like a show that you voiced that you really love, like a really really awesome show in general? Even if you didn't voice for it, you would still like it.
Definitely yes. Let me think. There was the new Gundam show, Witch from Mercury. That one was super fun.
Which one was that?
It's Gundam, the Witch from Mercury.
The Witch from Mercury. I want to look that up.
Yeah.
Is that a... Let me ask you this about Gundam, because I remember Gundam from when I was a kid, and I kind of got into it and kind of, was starting to, but then I kind of fell off. If you're not, like, watching Gundam over the years and you haven't kept up with the story, like, could I watch this and, like, know what's going on?
It's a different...
Because I know
story each time with Gundam.
Oh, it's a different story each time, you said?
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily follow the same characters then over the years.
Not the same characters, like certain recurring things and references, sure, but this one, if you know, Gundam is a giant fighting robot.
Yes.
That's all you need to know.
The animation looks really really slick on this one.
Yeah, it's a cool one. I get killed and it looks badass. This chick comes up to me and fires all these lasers through me in space, and I explode.
Whoa! I'm gonna watch that.
Let me see if I can. I'll send you a link later. I'll send you a link so that you don't have to go through the trouble of finding it.
Another thing that I noticed looking through your links and your social medias and stuff is you have a Newgrounds page.
Yes, sir.
Newgrounds, dude. That is...
I was raised on that shit, man.
That is some old school shit. Yeah, I mean, first of all, like, I'm not necessarily surprised. I knew that Newgrounds was still around. Like, I checked into it a couple years ago, and I was like, oh shit, this place is still fucking here. That's amazing. But yeah, that's like coming up as like a... I don't know when I got into Newgrounds, like when I was like 12 or 13 or something, when you start finding like people doing like original art and videos, and God,
yeah.
It was back when the internet was like still kind of early, so like, God, it was like such a cool fucking platform.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love that you're on there. I watched your Yu-Gi-Oh animation that she did.
Yeah.
That shit was hilarious. My favorite part was when he kept casting the same spell over and over. I think it was like Wizard or something.
Yeah.
I cast Time Wizard. Okay. I cast Time Wizard. Hey, you can't do that twice. Time Wizard. And he just like keeps doing it. Like, oh man.
I don't even remember how I came up with that.
Looked like that took like a lot of... That had to have taken forever, right? Making that animation?
It definitely did, and my problem as an animator is that I take, I don't know, a minimum of 30 times longer than I'm supposed to. Like, I'll do like 4 drafts. I'll do a full draft start to finish and be like, this looks like shit. And then do it over. same thing, do it over, same thing, do it over. Okay, this one is workable, or I'm sick of doing this. Let me just finish it. I take too long. I can't draw things right on the first time.
Right, dude. It's a hard, tedious process. I've tried my hand at it. I'm not like that great of an artist, but you know, I'm interested in like production type stuff,
Oh yeah,
production,
yeah.
video, and I've messed around with some trying to do some animatics, and gosh, what a tedious task.
Yes. Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of some like audio, like editing and producing. I've kind of dipped my toe in that as well. And if you're not a really seasoned audio engineer with like 5, 10+ years under your belt, it just takes forever to. You have to go into the EQ settings. You're literally looking at the sound waves and what's happening here, and then you just. I guess what makes it the most tedious is that you have to listen to it over and over and over again. It's not something that you can just like see on a piece of paper.
Right.
You literally have to adjust a setting, replay it, listen, see what that sounds like, and be like, okay, that's what that sounds like. Well, what does it sound like if I do this? And if you do that, I mean, God, it just takes. It's exhausting.
It is, and it's like, at least when I'm animating, like if I'm drawing or something, I could put a YouTube video on to kind of keep me engaged or something. Audio editing, you cannot have a single distraction. You have to be focused on what's going on, and it is also very tedious. I actually despise it a lot. I do it a lot, but I've never. Well, I guess I used to be more of a fan than I am now. When I've done it this much, and it's just so like, okay, I'm kind of good at it, but it still takes too long, and it's very boring. Yeah, I get it.
I think it's one of those things, though. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. Obviously, with anything, but like it really. So like you don't necessarily have to adjust, the setting and see what this sounds like, because you've tried it over and over and over again. Similar to video editing. So that's something that I have a love-hate with video editing. I love video editing. I love it so much. I love taking clips of shit and putting it all together and making something funny, and just like it's something that is just so fucking cool. And I love that I can do it on pretty basic software too. Like my main machine is down right now, so I can actually produce like decent videos on a laptop I got for like $150 or something. But it takes so fucking long. It takes forever. And it's so tedious. It's not, I feel like, as tedious as audio, but you do have to consider the audio and make sure that, matches everything. But like there's so many times where I'll be hours deep, days, weeks, maybe even into a project, and then I notice something in the video that has to be cut. But by cutting that one thing, it throws all the other clips off in the video. So you basically have to completely start over again. That happens all the time.
I've absolutely had to deal with stuff like that, because I've done my fair share of video editing too, and yeah, that's a real problem. Yeah. And Adobe Premiere has its own issues where you're supposed to be able to. There's like a gap remover tool basically that doesn't work. Oh, and it's like everybody is like, why is this in here? Like, why can't I adjust the settings of the tool to kind of get it to work? What, blah, blah, blah. Why has this been here for so long and it doesn't work? Like, it's ridiculous. I was just watching a video about it like a month ago, trying to figure out how to remove, if you delete a clip, like how to remove the gaps.
Yeah.
And keep the video like.
That's a pretty basic function, I feel like, for video editing.
Yeah. And Adobe in Premiere, it just doesn't work. And it hasn't for a long time, and I don't know why it's there or why they've never done anything with it. It's weird.
That is weird too. Adobe, they usually have pretty good stuff. And are they subscription based? Do you have to pay a subscription for that?
Most people do, yeah.
I feel that.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you're living out in Texas. So you mentioned that you're kind of struggling, like not necessarily struggling financially, but you mentioned that you're trying to figure out next steps to make. You mentioned maybe pursuing some other types of work. This is actually kind of surprising to me. I mean, dude, you've been in like 50 different animes or something like that, right?
Mm, I think it's 51 or 2 now.
And
Like,
you've been doing
yeah,
this for how long? Like 6, 7, 8 years?
2016.
Yeah.
So
So
7 years.
that's a solid chunk of time, dude. You have an impressive resume. Um, are you having trouble finding like voice acting work, or do they just not pay a lot? Or
It's both. Well, so anime, they always say, is like a passion project. If you're doing it for the money, you're not going to be happy. It's not extremely lucrative. It's, I think, the lowest paying work like you can find in the
really?
industry for the most part. Yeah.
Wow.
It's so, I mean, and I love doing it. I love the craft. I don't want to stop. Um, but the like I'm in a weird spot because I do have all this work under my belt, but I still don't have an agent. And that's like almost an anomaly. You're not supposed to really get as far as I have without one.
Right.
Um, but I need an agent if I want to get access to like commercial work and more projects and stuff that would really boost my career and be where I need to go.
Yeah.
So I don't know why I am struggling so much. Maybe my headshots suck. But yeah, I don't know. I need an agent. That's like the biggest thing, because finding work is the work. And if you have an agent, that's pretty much covered. Because then you just send off auditions all day, and you send off 100. Odds are you'll hopefully land one or two.
Right. Yeah, just having someone that has their, ear to the ground, they're in the industry, they're plugged in, they're, kind of similar to that original opportunity that you talked about with the Red Dead, that was through a guy that you knew that was
Mm.
plugged into the industry, at least in some way, and,
Right.
be able to forward that on. I think that's a good idea. Have you tried maybe talking to like other voice actors? Like, do you guys talk to each other?
Yeah. Somebody was giving me a bunch of good advice, like revamping my website, which I did.
Which website?
It's let me see. It's on my Twitter. It's my card.io. Let me see.
Twitter. I keep calling it Twitter too, man. I can't.
I don't want to call it X. That's the dumbest thing ever.
It's so dumb.
I
Oh yeah,
can't
Jack
remember.
Reader. Okay, I think I see it on here. The card.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, sweet. So Jacoby, I guess it's because you're or Jakoshi. Sorry. Uh, I guess that's like your anime name, right? Because you do like
Kinda, yeah.
these stuff.
Look, I'm a huge weeb, if that's not clear. I wanted a username, and I wanted something unique, instead of like two words mashed together. Sorry, as like a compound noun, because what I did is mash two words together. I mashed my name with the name Yoshi, because I was
Right.
like, oh, Yoshi from Mario's dope. That's a
I
cool
like it.
sounding name. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, cool. And I got your I got your site pulled up here. Sweet, man. So yeah, you got some like audio, a couple voice reels. I watched some of your voice reels, man. It's really it's y'all. I'm really underplaying like this guy's talent. Like that's why I'm like kind of blown away that he's struggling. Or maybe not struggling isn't the right word, but like, dude, you are like. I feel like you're just on. I think you're about to have your lucky break. I mean, you've already had some lucky breaks, but I feel like you're about to transcend to the next level. I feel like.
I certainly appreciate it, and I certainly hope so.
It's gonna happen, man.
And not to like put myself in a bad light, but you are correct. I am struggling. Like I mean, not to yeah, I'm struggling. I mean, I'm in a rough spot, and I will get out of it soon. It's just this year's been tough. That's all it is. Like so many bad things happened this year. It's been insane. So
Yeah, it's rough out there, and I've been there too. And you know, talking to Ken the other day, the last interview, he's a graphic designer, professional artist, and he completely supports himself on his art at this point, and he has for the last 6 years, which to me is insane. That just blows my mind that he's able to do that. And I asked him about it, and he's like, yeah, you know, he makes good money, he's able to do that, and, you know, work on his own time and everything, but every now and then he has to go work at Walmart for a while. Or he said he worked at like I don't know, some store or whatever. And he's like, it's you know, I guess with artist careers, you know, you have your highs and your lows.
Yeah.
And yeah, you just got to write it out. But even though he's had to do that, or maybe didn't have to, but chose to, in the end, you know, he kept working out what he was doing, and he kept going, and now, you know, he seems to be in a pretty sweet situation.
Yeah, and I love his Dragon Ball paintings.
Yeah, he does a lot of Final Fantasy art too that I really enjoy.
Yeah,
fucking dope.
Yeah, Ken's cool. I've looked at a lot of his art on Instagram and stuff. He's pretty cool.
So there's hope, man. It's gonna work out, and just keep at it. Do what you got to do. You know, if you got to work at a Buc-ees for a while, you know that ain't.
I just applied to Buc-ees. I applied, and then I showed up like a week later. Hey, did you get my application? Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, we got it. I'll put your name down for the hiring manager.
Nice. Yeah.
So I would love to work for a Buc-ees for a while, but you know,
dude, what you should do is contact their corporate and be like, I want to be the voice of Buc-ee the Beaver. Like send them like because they haven't done that yet. I don't think. Like I've never heard Buc-ee talk. I met him once. There was a guy dressed up in like a Buc-ee suit at one of the Buc-ees I went to, but he didn't talk or anything. But you got to be like, listen, I got the perfect voice. You know, maybe record like a demo doing like some come on down to Buc-ee's where we got our jerky wall and we got fresh steak and just send it to him and be like, look, bro.
So I will say that the industry is so murky. I like a lot of uncertainty around. I've heard that cold calling, essentially, sending your reel to companies and like all that, and reaching out, hey, I could do this, is basically a bad idea. I've heard that over and over. And at the same time, I'm like, well, fuck it. Because I'm looking for work, and if I, you know, get bitten in the ass because I, you know, went after something like that, or am I supposed to feel bad, you know, after?
No, I think at worst they would maybe be like, hey, you know, this isn't really, you know, how we hire our, you know, actors or whatever. You know, you need to have, you know, maybe a manager or go through like this agency or whatever. But, you know, hearing a no it's okay to hear no and move on to the next.
Yeah.
Thing, you know? And Buc-ee's, they're privately owned. So who the fuck owns that place? They might fucking be like, yes, you're out in Texas. They're from Texas, I think. Be like, you are the prodigal Buc-ee.
Bro, I would kill to be the official Buc-ee's Beaver.
Me and my friend, we wrote. Actually, it was mostly them. I contributed very little to this, so I should not get credits. They wrote a song about cran grape, like the juice, cran grape, which is by Ocean Spray. And it's a great fucking song. It's a little reggae tune. It's called Take a Ride on the Cran Grape. And, ukuleles, and it's nice, man. It's a nice little crane grape tune. I was like, you gotta sell that to Ocean Spray, man. Like, you gotta be like, look, we got your song. So they contacted Ocean Spray, and they just told them to post it on social media. That was their response. They was like, oh, just post it.
Not the harshest thing to say.
Yeah,
You know, that's pretty cool. Did they post it?
No, I don't think so. I don't think you can find the Cran Grape song. It might not even exist anymore. I had it on a hard drive, but I don't know. That was years ago. We have to get the boys back together and re-record Cran Grape.
Man, I had so many of those like ambitions when I was younger. To have that attitude of just naturally, oh yeah, let's just reach out to this company and blah blah.
Yeah.
Blah. I gotta get that mojo back. Like I'm accepting what you're telling me. I need it.
I think it's about staying active. So if there is anyone watching this that is curious, so we're in a class together. It's with Sam Brown from the Wise Kids You Know, and it's like an intro to sketch class. We took it over the last, I guess, 2 months. It was every week for 2 months, and I love the discipline of having to show up every week with something that keeps me going, because I've got a million other things that I'm doing in my own life as well.
Yeah.
But having something that I'm really interested in, that I care a lot about, I'm not going to not show up or not do it. Otherwise I wouldn't have signed up for the thing. But having something due every week is like amazing. I hate it, but
yeah.
but sometimes you have to be forced to just do shit, because if you don't, you can get lazy. I'm so guilty of being lazy, and it's okay,
Absolutely.
to take days and stuff, and I do that all the time. But a lazy lifestyle over long periods of time, I mean, it can be okay for a while, but over a long enough time, you kind of start looking around and being like, fuck, I didn't do anything. I could have done something. So I love being able to always be working on stuff. That's why I do this channel mostly, is just to like keep me busy, keep me going. And
good on you.
Hey, thanks, man. Hopefully we can get into start producing some like sketches. I really don't know how I'm gonna do that by myself / digitally, but it can be done. I know it can be done. So I'm really curious so that's going to be the next class that I'm going to be taking, is the production one. I'm really curious to see how that goes. I wanted to pick your brain, probably mostly off air, but like I'm interested in like animating and video production and stuff. I'm really curious like what programs you use. You already mentioned Adobe for video, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you use for animations?
So growing up on Newgrounds, watched all these Flash cartoons, and at some point I was like, oh, I want to be basically a Flash animator. So I learned Flash.
So is that like coding? Is there coding involved with Flash?
There can be, but it's not necessary. With ActionScript, it's called. But ActionScript is, I think, like pretty obsolete now, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, if you're making, you could still use it, but I think I was just reading something about how it's kind of irrelevant now. It's like a dead coding language. So
interesting.
Not necessary. Yeah, you just got to learn. If you know how to video edit and you know what layers are and a timeline is, that's the biggest thing. Then you just have to deal with frames, which are very easy to view on the thing, but it's the puzzle of just, there's so many fundamentals of animation, spacing, timing, how good your drawings look, how many things are going on. I mean, there's so much stuff that goes into it. So it's about like simplifying the process of each one on, okay, I want it to be this, and okay, this is going to happen on this arc. And once you like kind of navigate the puzzle, then you got to make it look good. So that's like animation in a nutshell.
Yeah.
I do use Animate, but there's also something coming out super soon. Procreate is either releasing a new version or a new app. I think it's a new app for $20, no subscription. And it looks like the most intuitive animation program to date, like the biggest shortcut for new artists to be able to animate, that looks really, really good. And I have to get an iPad and an Apple Pencil just to use it. I don't know when it drops, but they just announced it yesterday, and it blew my mind.
Okay, $20.
Yeah,
No
one-time payment. Correct.
That sounds too good to be true.
People were ecstatic. Ecstatic.
Yeah, one of those.
I'm dumb. They were.
He lives in Texas, y'all. Give him a break.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, no, everyone was going nuts over that because it was like announced at one of those big presentation arenas like Microsoft and E3 and all that crap.
You know, that's the beautiful thing about the time that we live in, is that the tech just keeps getting better and better. Like, I remember trying to do video editing like 10 years ago, and it was so much more of a pain in the ass than it is now. Now you can do the stuff on very basic software that back then would have taken like really advanced software. And I imagine the same thing's true with like with the animation type stuff. Another great example is so I used to play drums and do a lot of music type stuff, and electric drum pads have come like such a long way. You can literally get like this big pad, and it has maybe like, I don't know, like 20, 30 buttons like on it, and you can program every single button, and every pad is touch sensitive. So like if you hit it really hard, it's going to be like really loud. If you hit it lightly, you know, or if you hold it down, you know, it has all these different things, and it's so sensitive now that it's like you can literally program piano on there, you can do anything you want. But if you go back 10 years ago, the pads were garbage. Like, you know, you would hit them and it wouldn't necessarily like pick up on it right, and it would just be like weird. So like I never had any interest in those like ever. But then not too long ago, I saw someone demoing like a new one. I was like, oh my God, that's amazing.
It's really funny that you say that, because I have a friend who's a drummer, and he was telling me pretty much the exact same thing. Back in the day, I remember him complaining about electric pads, and
electric kids they were awful. Yeah, fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
You're
right.
When I was like 20, I dropped like $800 on, or $900 on an electric drum set, because I had just moved into a duplex and I couldn't play.
Yeah.
Actually, I had moved into a duplex and I tried playing my drum set, but I had the cops called on me like the first week of living there for playing my drum set. So I was like, fuck. So I spent like almost $1,000 on this fucking piece of shit fucking electric drum kit. I hated that motherfucker so much. It was like, that's probably the biggest waste of money in my life. And I've lost $500 playing roulette, but I consider the drum set was a bigger loss than that, for sure. Yeah, I thought one night that I figured out roulette. I got this formula. So I like gambling kind of for fun. It's more for fun than for money for me.
Sure.
Because you can't get rich gambling. You're always going to lose. That's the thing. But like, I like the puzzle of trying to figure out that edge. Because if you can figure out that edge, then that's the only way you can ever win. Which is why you can never figure out that edge. It's impossible. It's an impossible task. because the casinos and all the games and everything, they have been mathematically broken apart and put back together, and there's no way you can get the edge. It can't happen. So I thought I found it one night, and I had my little roulette formula, and I started with, I think, $500. I think I started with less than that, but for this formula to work, you needed a little bit more money. And I was convinced that I had it figured out. And I had run test runs as well. So I had like a fake roulette app where I was running my formula on this app, and I was winning and winning and winning and winning. I was like, fuck, I broke the code. I fucking did it. So I went to this online roulette table, and I started playing it, and it worked for hours. I turned that $500 into, I think, like $1,200 over like a 4-hour period of time. It was just grinding away. It was just like, it's not like any big wins or anything like that. It was just, and it was working. And I was like, God damn it, I'm a fucking genius. I figured it out. I was literally thinking about like doing this as like a second job. I was like, I cracked the fucking code. But then the tables turned, and part of the strategy was betting on black every time. And I rolled like 13 reds in a row, and it wrecked, and I lost it all. So really, I lost like over $1,000, but I only could say it was 500 because that's what I started with. But it took about 6 or 7 hours. Like I was up all night doing this, and I went from 500 to like 1,000 to nothing. I still feel like a dumbass when I say that story, but
it's a good learning experience. It's a $500 learning experience.
That's the way I took it. And you know what? Damn it, I tried. I fucking tried. And it took losing like 13 coin tosses in a row to lose. So like,
that's such an unlucky number. Holy
that's what I'm saying, dude. And also to lose that many in a row, it's unfounded. It was just like red. I'm like, and each time I'm trying to fix the bet, and it's like until you're like, oh fuck, if I get one more red, I'm out.
Like, there's no way it's going to be red again. Come on, that would be ridiculous.
Well, and I was even like looking up the odds of that happening, and it's like 1 in thousands. Like it's just like, but here's the trick with roulette though, is you can look at those odds. It's like, okay, what are the odds of it running red 13 times in a row? Oh, it's like 1 in 1,000. Okay, maybe at this beginning, but when the first red hits, those odds change to like maybe 1 in 500. And then if you lose that one, and so it's ever going against you. God, whoever invented roulette is a goddamn fucking genius.
Yeah,
it's just
because I love roulette.
Yeah. Roulette's probably one of my favorite casino games because I feel like you have the highest odds of winning, which is like 49%, I think. 48.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's close to 50-50 odds. And then I also like that you can split it up and do like little side bets and kind of, dude, I've gone deep on roulette where there's like all sorts of like YouTube videos where they have all their strategies and stuff, and like you can look at these strategies and you can even run and test them, and you're like, oh man, this is the strat, like this will work, but it never works, dude. It never ever works. That's why I'm saying whoever invented roulette's a fucking genius. Like they figured out a foolproof system where even a genius mathematician, the only genius mathematician that was able to figure out roulette was basically cheating. What he did was he was going into casinos and he was observing the tables, and he was writing down every single roll and what it hit every single time, and based on like really minor flaws in the tables, he was able to figure out which numbers got hit the most, and based off of that, he was able to increase his odds and beat it that way. But that's not really beating the game. That's more of just beating the actual physical table.
Yeah.
Which is insane to think that that's what this guy did for like probably like months. like just going into a casino, just like walking around, looking at tables. Super suspicious. No, there's no way you can with that. These days, like, I think this is back in like the 40s or 50s or 60s or some shit.
Yeah, it had to be.
Yeah.
That's a crazy story though.
yeah, this guy figured it out. Yeah, there's always people trying to cheat. I saw this thing not too long ago about this guy who like scammed the lottery system, and he basically just worked for the lottery, and he was the guy that got the box, and he just started like giving them out to his friends and stuff. Is fucking wild.
Did he get caught?
Eventually, after like 10 years.
Damn.
Yeah. And then of course and then he had to give it all back, or all his friends. It created a whole fucking nightmare mess.
Jeez. Oof. Yeah.
Dude, I feel like I asked you most of the questions I wanted to talk to you about. I usually end the show with like a piece of advice. Do you have any advice for somebody? Or like what I usually like to say is maybe for a person who doesn't have much of like a family or anything, and they're like maybe coming out of high school kind of on their own. Do you have any advice for a kid?
I have tons of advice.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of how to package it. I guess trying to keep it simple, I would say find an ambition, whether it's a career of choice or I mean, career would be the biggest thing, but I don't know. People have ambitions. Look up different ambitions. All I can think of right now are careers, but find an ambition.
I mean, if it is a career, I mean that's great. If you can find something that you love to do and that you can also get paid for, that's dope. That's what I do now. Is I roast coffee, which is something I never thought I would end up doing, but I fucking love it. I love going into work.
You know, that makes so much sense because you're just such a chill dude that that's awesome.
Yeah, dude. And I'm so lucky too because I work for like it's like a small business, small family type thing, but we get like really high quality coffee. Like I've got some great suppliers, and so I feel like we get some of the best coffee in the world, and then I'm able to get my hands on it, and I have like full creative control. I roast all the coffee myself. Nobody's telling me what to do. I invent like blends and stuff. Like I invented my proudest achievement this year is I invented Dad Coffee. It's coffee for dads.
Dad Coffee?
Yes.
I could go for some of that.
Yeah. In fact, I'm working on a commercial for Dad Coffee. That's another reason this production stuff can tie into what I'm doing at work is I want to do a commercial for Dad Coffee. There's some other video stuff that I've been working on for them as well, so awesome.
Man, that's one of the reasons Max wanted to take the class is he saw like the Squatty Potty commercials online, and
Squatty Potty.
Are you familiar? It's not. So. They haven't advertised it in like a few years, to my knowledge, but I want to say 2018, 2019-ish. There was this commercial. It was like everywhere on YouTube and stuff. Like every time you try to load a video, talk about the Squatty Potty, and it was like this very out of the box ish comedic commercial, and it would like show a unicorn with rainbows coming out of its butt to like simulate poop. And
I do vaguely remember this. Yeah, I remember it.
Yeah. It was that was like their viral marketing campaign, and it worked, and everybody knew what a Squatty Potty was. They did really well. They were really successful, and it's because they reached out the guys who made it reached out to I don't know if it was an ad agency or somebody they knew or met or whatever, but this guy was like, "Oh, if you want to sell these, like, here's what you got to do," and like he set that commercial up. So Max like understood that story and wanted to take the class for a similar thing to like kind of.
So he's like a healing coach, right? Is that right? Or like a
yeah.
So he wants to make like a commercial for his business that's like kind of like that, like kind of out there, but still draws attention to his work.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot that you can do with what he does that could be like really funny, because he's like a very like kind of. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I don't really know him that well, but he seems like a very Zen yoga type.
Yeah, the namaste kind of.
Yeah, so you can rip on that all fucking day. I mean, so he needs to be able to make fun of that, but also bring people in. He needs to be able to figure out how to not make too much fun of it, I guess, so that people will just think it's a joke. But yeah. I think there's a lot to work with there. I want to talk to him. I want to get him on.
Yeah, go for it.
Maybe he can give me some life coaching. That seems so different from like you two seem like completely different personalities.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we grew up together. And I love my brother, but he's we have very different personalities.
Are you the older brother?
No, I'm right below him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And some of the things he's into, I agree with. A lot of it I don't, but like I don't know, more than the average person. I'll like be like, oh, I see what he's getting at with this. For a lot of it, I'm like, that's not for me. But he
seems
he does well. So
he seems like the kind of guy, and I mean this in the best way, that like would maybe either start a cult or be like really high up in a cult.
Oh my god. Yeah, you're probably right.
I mean that in the best way possible, like a good cult.
We did start a cult once.
Oh shit!
I mean, just
what? You started a cult?
Long story. I don't know how appropriate the full story would be.
Oh fuck! I joined.
It was a dope cult. No, I mean nothing. Damn.
Wow, this is very secretive. Are you like Illuminati? Like
no, like
that's how you got into Red Dead 2. Dude. Are you have you been practicing Scientology?
No, we basically made our own. Bro, it's like I want to tell you, but one crucial detail I have to know if it's okay to say on stream, and I'm not sure. So
I mean, I don't care, but I mean, if it's for your personal benefit, then I understand. I mean, are we talking like blood sacrifices?
No. Just
so
drug usage. Not me though.
Right. It could be kind of like I saw a thing. I mean, I guess it was a couple years ago now. I think they were out in Texas. It was like a vampire group. I don't know if they're necessarily a cult, but they would like I think they would like draw each other's blood and like drink it and stuff.
Was this on Netflix?
Yeah, it was some documentary I saw. I don't remember. It's been a couple years, but
if it's the same one I'm thinking of, at least one segment of it took place in New Orleans, and one of my friends was on that show randomly, just as like this dude standing in the kitchen, who happened to be hanging out with these I don't know how he got on the show. He was just hanging out with people, and then cameras came in. So
right,
if it's the same show, I'm not sure, but
that's cool.
Yeah.
Dude, I saw some voodoo shit in Aruba. I went to Aruba this January. Aruba is, if you're not familiar, is just north of Venezuela. It's like an island just north of Venezuela, close to the equator. Um, it was amazing going there. Like I said, in January because they have like 90-degree sunny weather all year round. Fucking awesome. But anyways, I bought a bicycle while I was there, and I was biking around, and I went up to this big like water tower that had like a bunch of graffiti and stuff on it. But it was away from everything, and it's like kind of like out in the desert. There's cactus fucking everywhere. Even though it's a small island, there's like cactus and lizards and tropical, like almost desert island. I make it up to this water tower, and great view. I can see all over. And there's these two dead chickens up there that had their heads cut off, and their heads like it was their bodies and their heads both just like laying there on the ground. I was like, that's fucking weird. So when I was biking around later, I asked some locals about it, and they said it was like a voodoo witchcraft ritual. Apparently, it was a full moon that night, and someone was, I think, placing a curse on somebody. Is what the people said. Yeah, they're like, yeah, they cursed motherfucker.
Where was this again?
Aruba.
Aruba. Damn.
Yeah, I heard about it from that Beach Boys song. Aruba, Jamaica. Yeah, I was like, oh, I want to go there. Now, I actually wanted to go to Chile, but the trip was on sort of short notice, and Aruba was like way more affordable.
Right.
And it ended up being fucking awesome. I want to go back.
Oh yeah.
One day. But yeah, voodoo shit. So don't.
That's crazy.
People. They might place a fucking voodoo curse on you.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have. I mean, if I would have come across that and then heard that, I would have like gotten shivers. Like, oh.
Well, I don't think they cursed me. I hope.
Right, but it's just creepy to like walk up on like a blood ritual.
Yeah, especially when you're in another country where you don't speak the language.
Yeah,
by yourself. But
like this Resident Evil shit, like I don't know.
A little bit. It was middle of the day and sunny, so I guess that's a little bit better. If I'd stumbled on that, like at the full moon, I would have been like, "Oh God, oh man!"
Like little torch lit, illuminating it. You're like, yeah.
Yeah, that would be my advice to a kid coming out of school, starting it in the life. I'd say, don't fuck with people. Don't fuck with them. They'll place a voodoo curse on you. You never know. Even though I feel like most kids probably know that by now these days with all the school shootings. Can you imagine going to a fucking high school now? Like, God, high school.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
Like, it already sucks bad enough, but now you have to worry about like pissing off some fucking psycho.
It's I don't know. I really do feel for kids now. I really do feel for them. Like, it's God. I can't imagine. When I grew up, things were fucking normal. I mean, Columbine happened, but
it wasn't normalized as it is now. Now it seems like every fucking like month or two, there's one.
Yeah. It's insane. It's sad. Yeah, I get sad every time I hear about it, and at the same time, I'm not surprised. And I don't know. That shit bothers me. It is really shitty. I would hate to be a kid today for schools and stuff.
Yeah, I'd probably try to do like homeschool or probably that. I don't know. That's another. So you don't have any kids, do you?
No.
I don't have any kids either, but that would be a huge struggle, I feel like, these days, having a child and trying to raise them up in this
absolutely
it'd be tough, especially with like everything on the internet. Like, you want to be able to protect them from that stuff, but at the same time you don't want them to be a weirdo shut in. Like,
and they're gonna get into it anyway.
Yeah.
And I was watching people get beheaded when I was like 9 years old. So
Oh God.
we grew up on the Wild West of internet, you know, like, so I don't know.
That shit's still out there, dude. In fact, I feel like there's more of it now than there was.
Oh, I'm
then.
sure. I'm sure.
God, I remember the first time I went to one of those websites. I spent like an hour on it, and then I just got like the most disgusting feeling in my stomach, and I don't think I've ever been back since. That was like fucking 15, 18 years ago.
Yeah.
I went down that rabbit hole, and then I was like, God, that was just, you know, seeing like suicides and like, or like the shit that you see out of the Middle East where, like you said, like beheadings and stuff. Oh my God.
Yeah, and
Fucking A.
for whatever reason, I had a much, not that I enjoyed it, because I never did, but, you know, you stumble across all these sites, and I was on Newgrounds, and I'm on all these, like, you know, sites where content wasn't moderated, so I ended up seeing it a lot, but at the same time, I had a much higher tolerance to it when I was a kid, and now I can't watch any of that shit.
Really?
I come across, like, I'll be on Twitter, and scrolling, and like I'll just see some lady get hit by a bus, and I'll be like, why the fuck is this on my feed?
Dude, that happened on my Twitter feed. I guess it was about 2 months ago. Yeah, I saw a dude get straight up murdered, like on the streets of New York. It was like a security camera, and this guy just like murdered a guy with a gun, and then like shot him dead on the ground. Like he didn't even give him a chance to like get up or anything. It was like shot him and then like fucking like quadruple tapped this motherfucker, and it just popped up and automatically played on my feed. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, like didn't ask for that. Give me a little bit of warning first, you know. Don't
for real
autoplay murder on my like real on my fucking, you know, I'm like at work, you know, roasting coffee, and I just see a guy brutally get murdered on the street.
Right.
Like, oh, great.
Wow, that's just what I was looking for.
That's only happened to me that one time, but I was pretty pissed because you don't expect to see that on Twitter.
Yeah, it's happened to me like 3 times.
And you can see it on Reddit, but I feel like you have to look for it on Reddit to see it.
Yeah, and they'll be like tagged as NSFW, and you gotta like
it'll be like blurred out. Yeah,
as
it should be. We don't need that shit.
Yeah,
because if they're gonna show murder on there, then what's the next fucked up thing that they're gonna show? I don't even want to name some, but like fuck, like.
And I'm not looking to get I don't want to be desensitized to any of this. Like,
right, and
get it away from me.
And then if you watch it, now it's in your algorithm, so you're more likely to see it in. Google, like into it. You're like, no, dude, I'm not into it.
Like,
I just can't look away.
Yeah. We put this thing in your feed, and we saw that you saw it, so obviously you like this. We're just gonna...
Wow, we're ending dark. I love it. This is kind of a dark interview. This is good. I like that, man.
That wasn't my goal.
No, you're out there. You're struggling. You're in the world. You're you know, you might have to work at Buc-ees for a little bit, which is dope if you do.
They treat their employees fucking great. So,
dude,
I'm not complaining.
Buc-ees is my fallback plan for sure. The coffee thing.
It's a good fallback plan.
Yeah. Do you want to you know, shout out anything, any of your links, websites, anything that you're working on that you want people to know about? What you got going?
Real quick, just to address the point you made right before this, it's been dark, but I'm just real. You know what I'm saying? I'm real. You seem pretty real. I like real people.
No, I mean, the goal of this show is to improve people's lives and to gather information based on people's experiences. And yeah, it's going to get messy sometimes. That's life. Life
Yeah.
is pain, dude. That's in my experience. Life is fucking pain and learning how to manage and deal with pain. But
Yeah.
that's
I mean,
my personal walk. That may not be for
if
everybody, but
if you basically accept what you just said, makes the pain easier to deal with. So it's like in your best interest to kind of accept that kind of philosophy.
yeah, confront
Because
it
you
head
can't avoid
on, or like
yeah.
I really liked Jordan Peterson. He used to say, "Choose your suffering," which I think was a great line.
Yeah.
Where he's like, if you put the work in early and now, and you suffer through it, you'll be rewarded later. You're choosing that suffering, of work and whatever, rather than like we talked about earlier, just being lazy and whatever. But then you suffer later down the line because you didn't build a foundation like for your life. So
Yeah.
I like that philosophy. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, very true. Yeah,
It's
that
it's
resonates.
very yin and yang. Like it's gonna happen. You're gonna have your highs. You're gonna have your lows. How you go about doing it is somewhat up to you for most people.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so I don't have any. I don't know.
You don't
I
have
don't
any
know.
links or anything?
Subscribe
Well, I'm
to me
gonna.
on
Well,
Twitter. How about that? I need more Twitter followers. Sheesh, Twitter hates me.
do you have the?
I do not have the blue. You know what? I want to get the blue to boost my like posts and stuff,
Sure.
but everybody in the industry would be like, "Oh, he's supporting Elon," and it's like, guys, trying to look. At the end of the day, we're all business people. Like,
Well, they don't like Elon.
yeah, no, they all hate Elon. I'm indifferent. I'm not interested in
The
expressing any
industry.
views.
Do they hate
that-
him because he just does things his own way and just doesn't,
Yeah, and I'm sure there's a host of other reasons they would be able to provide.
I think for like an eccentric, like self-absorbed, like narcissistic billionaire, I think we did pretty good with Elon. Like considering,
I
at least he's like kind of funny and nerdy, and he cracks jokes, and
yeah,
and he seems to have the interests of humanity in mind. Maybe that's questionable, but I don't know. I think he's kind of funny. It could be worse. It's not like fucking JP Morgan or like one of the Rockefellers or something. Like this guy's out here like trolling.
you're speaking my language. Like I feel you, and at the risk of ruining my career for expressing an opinion that goes against the hive mind, which I'm already getting myself in.
I mean, I'm not like an Elon fanboy or nothing, but I mean, he's hilarious. Like the shit that he does is fucking hilarious.
All right. I told you earlier I was real. I'll be real.
He's
I like Elon.
He's
I don't
trolling.
care if I get canceled.
He's trolling the world, and it's hilarious.
I don't like a lot of the things he does with Twitter, but what I recognize is he's fucking millionaire, multi-billionaire who bought this company and treats it like a toy. He plays with it. He's like, oh, let me try this out. Blah,
yeah,
blah, blah.
$60 billion toy.
Yeah, but that's how he treats it. He's just like, oh, I'm gonna call it X. Yeah, because it's cool and edgy and Shadow the Hedgehog. Oh yeah, X.
I think you're right in a way that he does play with it, but I also think that he's trying to build the next, I don't know what it would be, but like, so Twitter was always like a failing company. They never made any money, which is insane because you have the president and top politicians, like that is like their main platform to talk to the people. Yet Twitter, the business, never really figured out like how to work, which is why they sold the business, and they honestly they robbed fucking Elon. Like they had to sue him to buy it because he said it as a joke. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'll buy you, motherfuckers," and they're like, "Okay, you gotta do it now." And he's like, "Fine, here you go. Here's your money. Get the fuck out of here." And he ran him out of town. I think he's trying to build a business that 10, 20, 30 years from now will be. You'll see like the big X headquarters. It's going to be like a weird dystopian, like X fucking.
Yeah, I agree.
If he gets his way, it's going to be like, you know, because I think they're trying to incorporate like financial payments and stuff on there. So I think they're trying to get involved with being able to be like, you know, moving money and communications. And I don't know if he does it right, or if he does it the way he wants to. The long-term goal,
Yeah.
which always seems to be Elon's thing, right? Like he was doing electric cars when nobody else was doing it, and it wasn't profitable for the longest time, forever. Everyone said he was going to fail. He was at risk of going, you know, bankrupt over and over and over again. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Nobody liked him, and he kept going. He kept fucking doing it. Same thing with the spaceship, SpaceX stuff. You know, NASA wasn't doing shit. He's like, oh, I'll just start launching rockets. And he was doing it and blowing them up. And people were like, this motherfucker just out here blowing up rockets. But now he's like, you know, he's got like a whole satellite network around the globe. Did you know this? Interlink or whatever.
Starlink.
Starlink. He's got a bunch of spaceships. He's got, you know, he manufactures his own vehicles. Now with X, Twitter, I mean, it's basically like he's owning the media in a large chunk of it. It's insane. It's a lot of power for one dude.
It is insane. And what I do like is that he's disrupting the power structure of the establishment media, and I don't care who anybody votes for. I really do not. I really don't. But I do despise the media,
right?
And you know, both sides. They're like, oh, you watch Fox News? No, I fucking don't. Fuck Fox News.
We get a lot of the. I'm sure you do too in Texas. The conservative, like a radio talk show. The radio stations that do like Rush Limbaugh. Well, he's dead now, but
whoops.
Dude, he's one of those guys that died and like nobody cared. Like he was somebody that never actually, you know, really committed a crime or did anything bad. He died, and people were like, "Yeah, that's cool."
I was sad when he died because I could impersonate him so well.
I was sad for him as a person and for his family. I mean, like he got cancer.
Yeah, no, me too.
He got like super aggressive cancer, and he died within like a month or two. Dude, those stories fucking blow my mind when you hear of somebody like the guy from Smash Mouth,
Steve Harwell.
He had acute liver failure, and I had to look up what like, acute liver failure is, and it's a condition that can just happen. Like it can take a day or a week. Even like your liver can literally just shut down and you can just die. Which it's fucking insane. I mean, there can be some things leading up to it. It said like if you have like hepatitis, that could help. You know, not help, but you know that could contribute to that. Or take a bunch of I think like too much like Tylenol throughout your life. If you do like if you take like aspirin like every day for like, I don't know, 10, 20 years or something. I think that can contribute to it. Drinking maybe. But still, the fact that you can get this condition and then be dead within, you know, 24 hours or a week, it's fucking brutal.
Yeah. That definitely sucks.
But
lost a lot of good ones the last couple of years.
Oh shit, dude! We just lost. Oh fuck! How am I spacing on his name? Margaritaville. Jimmy.
Jimmy Buffett.
Jimmy Buffett. How am I spacing on Buffett? The Buff.
Bro, dude, I space out on the simplest shit all the time. You don't even trip.
Yeah. You know, I just noticed today that the Rolling Stones just put out a new single.
Did you listen to it?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay. I was going to ask if it's good. That's cool.
It just blows my mind that these guys are like 100 and they're like still.
That is wild.
Like these guys like were playing gigs, you know, like with the Beatles back in like 1965. and they just put out a single today, or like in the last week or whatever. Like, what the fuck?
Shit, they were playing 60 years ago. I was gonna say 50, but it's like 60. Jeez.
Yeah, it's insane. They got to be robots.
And how is Keith Richards even alive? He's
fine.
He's his own thing.
Like, he sounds pretty much the same. So
I know. But he's done so much heroin. I don't know.
Hey man, they lived their best lives in there. They're still out there.
They sure fucking did.
They're still out there doing it somehow. All right, Jack, dude, it's been an honor and a pleasure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna link all of your stuff down below. I'll get your Twitter, your Newgrounds. You have a YouTube page too, right? I think.
Yeah, I don't post there enough. I'm trying to fix that. But yeah.
Yeah, check out Boatman. That's a great song from Elden Ring, I think.
Yeah.
I just love that it was just a guy on a boat, and that's like the bad guy. Like, you're totally right. You're right to write a song about that, because it's like, who made Boatman? Like, he's a guy that's on a boat, and he'll like shoot some energy beams at you.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy. Fucking Boatman.
I don't know why the idea came to me, but it stuck, and I was like, okay, I have to make this. So.
That's great, dude.
Yeah.
But, dude, again, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Moving on to bigger and better things, man. We're moving up. We're doing it. You're in Cyber City. You got this.
It's a great place if you ignore the smell.